Hello, hello.
Hi.
Hey, everybody. We are the fourth quarter storytellers, and we are here tonight to tell some stories about the fourth quarter in life and the changes that can be made in that quarter and
Mhm.
the difference it makes. And talking about changes. Let me first introduce myself. My name is Cynthia Merritt. I am 60-ish, and I found myself approaching those retirement years now making some crucial changes that are going to help me for the rest of this lifetime and
Mhm.
in this fourth quarter. My co host, Val.
Hey, I am Valerie Davis. I am 53 years old. And what do you do when change finally comes? How do you accept it? How do you move forward? Is it good for you? Is it bad for you? So I am here with fourth quarter storytellers who tell a story. And it's always to help us to improve who we are, to improve what we're doing, and prep us for where we're going. All right.
All
So,
right.
yes, we are here for it.
All right, we are here for it. So, tonight we're talking about something that is really timely for this time that we're in. We're talking about planning a relocation experience. Now, I know that April signifies spiritually the month of change. So many changes are going on. So many changes will be going on that you don't know about tonight or today or even tomorrow that will be happening. And so, what we want to do is offer some suggestions and some tips for dealing with a relocation. If you need to, I heard today. I was listening to a podcast where a couple, the husband was laid off last year, and then they were down to one income, and then the wife was laid off at the beginning of this year. So both of them don't have an income, and um, they have properties, rental properties. So they have a lot of expenses that they still have to have that they're now able to afford. So, there's just a lot of strategy that's having to be shifted at this point. A lot of
Right.
people have a lot of responsibilities and things. And
Mhm.
so we're going to talk about some of these things to help everybody out. We recently did an episode that was regarding transferable skills and with like if you need to go into a new career, how you can use some of those transferable skills that you have already to help you relocate, start fresh, start new, maybe go to another city, another state, another country, either temporarily for a job, a new job,
Mhm.
or permanently for a new job,
Mhm.
whatever, or a new business, whatever the case is. So there will be a conflict in the workplace whenever you know that you're working and you need to be able to highlight some of these transferable skills that you have. There's always going to be a conflict in the workplace. One
Yes.
thing we need to start highlighting with in trying to get these new positions too is our conflict management skills because we all have them, especially if we're
Mhm.
parents to more than one child.
Right.
You
Right.
are an absolute expert at conflict management. You've had to sell one child on something and the other one, and you guys get to a point of agreement. This is the SAR, the situation, action, and result. Instead of waiting for somebody to ask you in an interview, tell me about a situation. What was the act, where you had this type of an issue, and then what was the action you took, and then what was the result. And then instead of doing that, then always try to lead with your conflict management skills. I'm excellent with conflict management skills. I can
Mhm.
recall a time when this happened, and you know what I thought of? I thought it would be great if we could go ahead and put this action in place. I was able to sell both sides on that action, and then it resulted in this actual stake that we took in the whole situation. It was resolved. And so when
Mhm.
you're able to do that, those conflict management skills, those are going to play a huge part of your value to that company.
Mm.
Also, adaptability, being able to pivot and not panic. When you're able
Mhm.
to pick up everything at the last minute, move to another city, state, or country, and then that wasn't even the desired result to begin with. However, you were able to change your whole paradigm and shift into that new beginning that you were about to have and adapt to
Mhm.
it and make a good deal out of it, then that's adaptability. That is such a valuable skill set, the skill that an employer would see in you. And then
Mhm.
also, if you have those multiple children, don't sleep on presenting yourself with that conflict management, because that's something that's really being sought after. Conflict management. So, when we're planning a relocation experience, we're going to talk about several steps that we're going to need to
Mhm.
consider when we're doing the plan. And so that it will be comfortable and fun. You want it to be an
Yeah.
enjoyable experience. The first thing we want to do is look at the area that you're moving to. So whether it's another city, state, or country, just where are you going? Well, let's look at the cost of living. First of all, that's the
Mhm.
first thing
Mhm.
I'm actually
Mhm.
planning a relocation now for a few months from now. And it's temporary, but the first thing I did was I compared where I am now in Atlanta to that
Mhm.
new city. I want to see the cost of living. How much is it going to cost me to live there? Then I
Right.
wanted to see the local attractions. Wanted to know what the weather's going to be like. I'm happy because it's like up a little bit further north. I'm happy I'm going in the summer months. Although I will be in the months going into the fall and not quite into the winter.
Mhm.
But at least it'll be nice weather so I can get out and do some things, get to know the city and things like that. Wanted to know a little bit about the public transportation there. I'll do Uber while I'm there, but just in case, what is the public transportation? Do they have a nice train system? Do they have a nice bus system? I know a lot of the countries that we're looking at moving to, if we're looking at becoming an expat, they have great transportation systems,
Mhm.
unlike
Mhm.
the ones we have in the US. Theirs are really nice,
Right.
but
Right.
and some are in the US sometimes in some cities. And then just the general lifestyle. What is the lifestyle like? What is it like when, how do you spend your days and evenings there,
Mhm.
weekends, things like that? What kind
Mhm.
of things would you be able to do? You want to check out those neighborhoods, see what
Yeah.
you align with, what are your preferences, if they're close to
Mhm.
work, any amenities, what you do. Do you swim? Do you golf? Do you, do any sports? Go to the movies. You want to know where all those things are in proximity to where you'll be spending your time. So that's the research. If you have children, you want to make sure to check out the school systems because you'll be relocating either temporarily or permanently with your children. So that's huge to know about the school system if you have children. Also, your healthcare facilities, you guys, and this is crucial for us. Anybody over the age of 50, we need to be able to know where we can go and see our doctor. If we're moving somewhere permanently, we'll be able
Mhm.
to set up new doctors and to make sure you're close enough to a hospital. Know where the nearest hospitals are and things like that.
And
Dentists
fire departments.
and fire departments,
Yeah.
absolutely, Val.
Mhm. Police stations. Yeah.
Absolutely, Val.
Mhm. Yeah.
That is huge. And then also your dentist. And then if you're looking at any regulations that you might need to know about for that new city, state,
Mhm.
or country, familiarize yourself with those local tax laws,
Mhm.
regulations, anything that could possibly impact you financially with those
Mhm.
regulations.
Yeah, and you know what, Cynthia? I'm gonna go back to knowing where your police station is. I always look at, since I just did this, I look at the area and the surrounding areas. I try to look at that too, so I can find out if if it's safe. I know crime is everywhere. You can't avoid it. You can't escape it. But I at least want to know, um, you know, how much is happening where I'm living, my
Exactly.
route to work. What is, so that's one thing too. You should always research as well.
That is so true, Val. That is so true.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay. Very good. Very good stuff. Okay. Also, the next thing we want to look at is our budget. We want to look at our finances because we've already, did the research on how the cost of living is. So either
Mhm.
you're looking good, from where you're moving, if it was more expensive there, and maybe you're going to a lower cost of living. That's great. That's going to be very user friendly on your budget and your wallet because that's going to let you put some more in savings. And so then you want to factor in all of your moving expenses. You want to see what it's going to cost you to travel there. And how long will you, how often rather, will you want to come back home? If you're
Mhm.
moving temporarily or if you're moving permanently, you may not come home except for to visit for birthdays and graduations and special occasions, holidays and things like that. But how much will it cost you? And how often will you do that? So you want to look at that. Also, your utility setup because you're going to have to get some utilities on unless like when I go for my temporary stay, I'm going to be just staying in a hotel, so I'm not turning on
Mhm.
any utilities.
Mhm.
I'm using all their utilities, but but you have to know that if you're moving into a place and you're going to need to set up a lease and get utilities and all that good
Right.
stuff set up, and then
Can I
any
say something
other.
right there for a second?
Yeah.
Do you mind, please, when it comes to, like you're saying that you're going to be in a hotel, but when you're renting an apartment or a home or whatever, and you're looking at those utilities, make sure you compare the different services in your area. Just don't go by what the landlord says or the rental apartment says. Make sure that you compare to what's good for you. Even with the renter's insurance, um, I had an issue when I moved for my new job. I wanted internet. Now I know my internet that I had at my old place was really affordable.
Okay.
The internet that with this particular provider, it was $79 a month. Well, they said the box was $79 a month. And then once I get the box, I just activate the box like I've done any other service that I've had. Well, come to find out that it wasn't that easy. You have to pay $79 again to get activated. So that was like what, 150 something dollars right there just for internet only, no cable, nothing like that. So when I questioned that and I told them what the previous person told me, they were like, "Oh, well, we're sorry. They shouldn't have told you that. We really don't believe they told you that." I said, "Well, pull your recording." And they said, "Well, I don't have a recording." I said, "But you all guys always start off by saying that you have it. This conversation is recorded." I gave the person's name, everything. It was just a mess. They transferred me to a supervisor. The supervisor um, was not helpful. That supervisor said, "No, they don't take notes. They don't they don't record." I said, "Now wait a minute now. You have a CRM system. So how are you keeping up with what's going on with your customers? So you gotta have a section where there's notes." You guys say that. It was just a big hassle. So
Mm.
$150 and change later, my internet is it doesn't even work well here where I am. Yes. Yes. So I say to you, make sure that you compare. Don't just take what they're telling you. So when you're doing your research with the moving, those little things that you think may be like quick, easy fixes, they can come back to haunt you later. So make sure you do that research on that.
Absolutely. Oh, and that's terrible that that happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So yeah, compare those charges for that
Mhm.
new setup for that
Mhm.
new service, guys. So very good tips there. All right. So now for the budget, um we're going to have some we need to have that emergency fund, you guys. And that's the one thing that has been just plastered in my mind all since last year is that these emergencies funds have got to be able to be there for
Mm-hmm.
emergencies, because the emergencies, it's not when they're going to happen, or not if they're going to happen, it's when they're going to happen, because we know that
Exactly.
something is going to be an emergency. That was an emergency, Val. When your when your internet was
Yeah,
costing all that money, that was an
yes,
emergency.
yes. So and that
Because you,
took away from my savings that I had for my
yes,
relocation. I'm like, wait, that's not what I was expecting. So
absolutely, absolutely.
mhm,
So, okay, so then, yeah, for those unforeseen expenses, we want to know the cost of living. We want to know the rent. We want to know the utilities. We want to know the groceries. So, if you have some grocery stores in your
mhm,
vicinity that are the same types of stores where you shopped at home, you're kind of familiar with the prices, for that particular brand of store.
mhm,
However, because it's in that new location, the cost may vary a little bit,
true.
maybe more expensive or less expensive. So it
Mhm,
may be a good thing.
mhm,
So, also the banking. Want to know, want to set up a local bank account unless you have already what they have there. Like if you're moving to another city or even another state, you're still going to have your basic major banks like your Bank of America,
mhm,
Chase Bank, whatever it is you bank with. And so those will be okay. But if you're moving, well, some of them could be a new state, but definitely a new country where you'll
mhm,
need to transfer funds from the United States to your international account.
mhm.
Those are some things that really will require some research on your part.
Right.
Okay. And
Okay.
then were you saying something about, I'm sorry.
No.
No. Okay. So, for housing, your temporary accommodations, like for me, it's going to be a hotel, and I already know where I'm going to be staying. But if you want one, you can do the short-term accommodations if you prefer to have a home
Mhm,
and do like an Airbnb, or you can even do a short-term lease if you prefer to
mhm,
do that. And you don't want to stay at a hotel, maybe you don't have a corporation that's going to pay for your hotel bill or give you a credit card to book your flights and your travel and stuff like that on.
mhm,
Then you might want to get a rental. It might be more cost effective for you, or an Airbnb, and you might just want that homey feeling more so than a hotel. Long-term housing, the options you might want to visit will be apartments, and it depends on how long you're going to be there. Because if you're going to be there for a year, that's not really a short term. That is a lease. You could do a 1 year
mhm,
lease for that,
mhm,
and then just commit to that lease. Or you could even, if you decide to, if you're just really a big person on purchasing, you may even want to buy a home. Some people do that when they're on projects and they're
mhm.
there for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. They'll buy a home and just make it a rental when they leave, and
Yeah.
keep it and have a property in that state or that city that they lease to tenants as an investment. So, leasing contracts, just understand those terms. Now, make sure we understand the terms for the lease or the mortgage, and we want to make sure to clarify the pet policies. Make sure that you know what you're paying as far as deposits are concerned with the pet policies and any other stipulations that are going to be in that contract. So you're
Mhm.
not blindsided by anything. And then with the, like Val was saying, with the utilities, your water, your electricity, your internet, oh my gosh.
Yes.
And we want we want to be connected, but not like that, honey.
Okay. Not like that.
And-
Not in the surprise.
I
Surprising.
know, I know. All right, so
Mm.
let's talk about organizing the move. Val, you want to take that one?
Yeah. I want to say that when you're making a short-term move or a long-term move, you need to be organized. It's very important. And when I say organized, I mean you need to think about what you're taking, how much you're taking, where you're taking it to, what you're leaving. Depends on the size of your home and what you already have. So when you think about that, you want to think about hiring movers, professional help, whereas they're going to be professional and gentle with your things. They're just not going to be throwing your things away and screwing up things. And you pay money for your lovely home item, so you don't want to screw that up. So you want to get quotes from several different companies and compare, but ask those questions. How many individuals are going to be helping you move? Are they helping you pack and helping you put the things on the truck? Are they helping you take them up, or they're going to set up? How long have they been moving? Or, all these type things, because you want to know, because I can tell you, you can listen to some of their conversations, and sometimes they're frustrated, they're tired, they're hot, and then they give you an estimate.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say they give you an estimate for 3 hours. And then within that 2 hour, they decide, oh, it's really going to be 4.5 or 5. Now, these people have gotten frustrated now. They have undercut themselves, right?
Yep.
And so now they're trying to hurry up and get your stuff, and now they don't care anymore.
I know.
So you got to make sure that you have professional movers and that they understand the job, they understand the ask. All right. So now to make that a little bit easier for the movers, you can always start packing earlier. So let's say if it's February and you know that you're moving in April, go ahead and start packing. Go ahead and start getting rid of things that you know you don't want, things that you're going to take to Salvation Army, things that you may want to give to people, people that you know, or even things that you may want to sell. All right. So go ahead and start categorizing those items that you're going to take with you versus what you're not. Also, it's going to make it easier and smoother. It's a better transition. So even when you are packing, label your boxes.
Mm-hmm.
Label your
That's
boxes.
huge.
Yes, label your box. What is in this box? Where does this box go? So that way, when you get to your new place, it's already on there. So now, oh, this box is clothes for the closet. Put
Mm-hmm.
those in the closet. Oh, this box is for the kitchen. Oh, this is decor. But where does that decor go? Was it in a hallway? Was it in a bedroom? Was it in the laundry room? So you want to make sure that label. So when you're going, so in order for you to label these items, that means you got to have everything you need, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Because you got to have moving supplies, guys. Don't not just the trash bag. And you got to have good sturdy boxes, not boxes that won't fold over and close where you can tape.
Right.
You want good boxes, so you want to get boxes. You want to get tape. You want to get bubble wrap, or either the foam wrap and the paper. All the necessary materials for packing is going to make it easier.
Mm-hmm.
Even bed covers for your mattress covers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because think about it. You're going to take the mattress and put it on somebody's moving truck. You don't want that
Right.
stuff to get on. So you want to get the things that you normally don't think about. You need to sit down and write down everything. Just like when you packing to go somewhere on vacation, what I do, I start from my head all the way down to my toes to make sure that I have everything.
Mm-hmm.
That way it helps me. So when you pack in your home, you want to start with beginning to ending and make sure you have everything.
Mm-hmm. And
Okay.
that's huge, Val, talking
Mhm,
about the labeling of the boxes.
mhm,
You can go and just sit a box in the kitchen and it's
mhm,
reads pots and pans, dishes, cups, glasses, whatever.
mhm,
And
mhm,
then I mean that just helps you when you're unpacking. It's right there
mhm.
already. Bedroom, closet stuff. That is so key. Yeah.
It's so helpful. It makes the move so much easier. And as the individual are bringing things into that room, guess what? You're not taking anything off that truck. Go ahead and start unpacking that box. So now
Exactly.
so now you're making room for more stuff, for more
Mm-hmm.
items. So yeah, label. Make sure you write it clear so that you can read it and understand. How you can read it, understand it. Um, it makes the unpacking so much easier and it
Yeah.
goes faster.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is the last thing about this. You know how sometimes you have little things, you're like, oh, this is going to be my junk box. I'm just going to put this here. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just going to put
Mm-hmm.
that there. And then you start looking around. Oh my God, I got all these little trinkets everywhere. Just let me put them here. Put that on that box.
Okay. Trinket.
Write it on the
Okay.
box. Yeah.
Oh, junk box. Okay.
This, yeah, on the box. Oh, I had this. This was on the kitchen counter.
Okay.
Scissors.
Okay.
Just write it on there. So now you know
You
where it is.
know.
You know where everything is.
Yes. That
Yeah.
is
So
good.
you want to simplify that move by organizing the moves as best as possible.
That is
All
true.
right. So now that you're thinking about how you're going to move, how you're going to organize it to make it easier, then we want to touch back on changing your utilities and your address, just like Cynthia was speaking of earlier. All right. Now, sometimes we can be old school and still want those little papers from the post office and put the new address on there and put them in our mailbox, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what I found out was that takes anywhere between 25 to 45 days before they make that change.
Mm.
Whereas you to change your address, it take anywhere between 5 to 7 business days.
Okay.
All right. So when you're changing your address, I would say opt for the online for USPS,
Mm.
United States Postal Service, in order for you to change your address.
Okay.
Um, Transfer your utilities. Sometimes you may be moving into an area where the carrier that you currently have is not servicing the area. They do not service the area. So now this is where you're going to do more research. Who services this area? How much is this going to cost? Is there going to be a down payment, a deposit? So you want to make sure that you get all the information up in your new place before you take off. So here again, if you know in January you're moving in April, go ahead and set your disconnect date for your current place and your um, activation date for your new place. Go ahead and get that out the way.
Okay.
All right. The easier the better. So by the time you get here, a day before your utilities are already on, you don't have anything to worry about. Okay.
Okay.
All
Okay.
right. Um, so when it comes to insurance, update your car insurance with your new address, update your home insurance, your rentals insurance or homeowners insurance, update all the information with your new address.
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, update your credit card information, your banking
Mm.
information. Your utilities are going to be disconnected, so they need to know where to forward your last bill.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to make sure you give them the new address. So it's a lot of little things that you probably don't think about,
Yes.
but if you write them down, then you can make that move just as easy as possible.
Mm-hmm. That
Okay.
is so true.
Yeah. So now you've got your move covered, your movers, your packers, what they can and cannot do. You've gotten your
Mm-hmm.
labels, your boxes labeled and organized.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You've already know how long it's going to take you to get from one area to the next area. You already know how much money you're spending on that, on those items. And now you know that your last month bill from your old address is going to come to your new address. So that way you don't have anything out there lingering that's going to mess up your credit later.
I know,
All right.
and that is so interesting too, Val, because like all my bills I pay online.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So when you started talking about your banking and your
Mm-hmm.
credit cards and stuff like that, I'm like, oh, that's right. I need to let them know I'm moving to another location. I didn't think about
You
that
gotta
because I don't get any mail from them. I just do
right.
everything online. And so
And
that I
that's how
didn't
and
think about that.
exactly. And that's how we forget about it because we're doing everything online. So if
Mhm.
something happens, you're in a different state
Right.
or the city and you're using your car and they're like, wait a minute, where this charge is coming from? Because sometimes it
Exactly.
will alert you and sometimes it won't. It just blocked out your car, locked out your card.
Mhm. Mhm.
So to be on the safe side, still just let them know
Yes.
it doesn't matter if you're receiving mail or not. Just go ahead and let them know to be on the safe side.
Right. Exactly.
Right. Okay. So we want to be proactive. Okay.
Mhm.
Um, so now you want to organize your travel when you're moving. You want to make your travel arrangements. As I stated earlier, how far am I going? Can I get there by car? Am I flying? Am I going by train? Go ahead and make sure you have all your transportation set beforehand,
Mhm.
way ahead of time. So organize how are you going to get there. If you're having people help you, how are they going to get there? What is the
Mhm.
plan? All right. They may say, yes, hey girl, I'm gonna help you move, all this good stuff. But then when you say it's 6 hours away, those girls start dropping off,
Yes.
right? So you want to have backup plans for someone that can help you. So you want to make sure that anyone that you do have is they are you can depend on them. All right.
Absolutely.
Um, and then since you said before, if is this a temporary stay? Is this a hotel? Is this a rental home? Okay. When you are looking for rental homes and apartments, you can always speak with them about short rentals, all right, and find out what their specials are for short term rentals. Make
Mhm.
sure you read that fine writing so you don't get surprised later. And also, if you're in a hotel and you know that you're going to be there for a year, okay, let's see if we can work out something. I'm going to be here for a
Mm-hmm.
year. It's temporary, yet it's a year. So how can we work out a deal?
Right.
You know, I once before when I was in Rhode Island for 2 years, and I stayed at the Hilton for two
Mm-hmm.
years. So
Mm-hmm.
they gave me a great rate,
Okay.
great rate. All right. You want to make sure that you have your travel essentials.
Mm-hmm.
Pack all your important documents that you have: driver's license, ID card, passport, your medical records, your birth certificate, your social security papers with you. Here again, I always have a story. I just made my move for a job,
Okay.
but as I was packing, I did label my box for important papers. But I'm like, oh, I've given them all this information. I'll upload it on my laptop. If they need it, I can get it again. But when you're doing your I-9 information,
Right.
you got to have tangible items. So guess what I had to do? I had to go back to the U-Haul truck where I packed everything
Mm.
and look for the box that was entitled office special
Okay.
paperwork. Thank
Okay.
God it's labeled so that I could get to it. But if you don't do that, then what? So
Right.
um, that's so hey, make sure you have all the things that you need. Keep it on your person. Keep it in your purse so that way you can get to it. Okay. All right. So all those things that you would need in the first few days, you want to make sure you have those things. Your clothes, your personal items. All right. Everything that you. Oh well, I can just run and get some toilet paper when I get there. Get some toiletries when I get there. Some toothpaste when I get there. But then, what if something happens? And you don't
Mm-hmm.
have that time.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you have
Absolutely.
all those things in eyesight vision so that way you'll know you'll have it.
Yes.
Okay. And let's talk about packing and downsizing. That's something that's really big. Because here
Mm-hmm.
again, you may be moving for a job. You may have a 5-bedroom house and you moving for a job for 2 years. You don't want to take everything. So now
Mm-hmm.
here again, this is where you're going to go through what do you need? You're going to declutter, take the opportunity to downsize and get rid of all those items that you no longer need, that you no longer use.
Exactly.
Sell
Exactly.
them, donate them,
Mm-hmm.
recycle them. You
Mm-hmm.
know, they can be a good use for someone else, but just not
Yeah.
for your new home, not for your new place. All right. So, what is it? They said one man's
Trash
junk
is
is
another
another
man's
man's
treasure.
treasure. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
what I did was if I haven't touched it, used it, seen it, or wore it within a year, I
Me
got
too. Me too.
I got rid of it. And it was
Mm-hmm.
so much. And my family was asking me, oh my God, you getting rid of all these clothes, all these shoes? I haven't worn them here.
In a year.
Haven't in a year. So let's get rid of them.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay. Here again with your important documents, make sure you organize those important documents, your passports, birth certificates, insurance documents, other vital records. Make sure they're easy to access when you need them. Don't have to go into the storage and try to pull them out of boxes.
No.
All right. So that leaves with packing smart. Pack essential items in your suitcases, right? That's what I should have done. Put those in the suitcase or a bag that you can easily access. All
Mm-hmm.
right. So you can just reach and get them. All right. So make sure you pack smart. We don't want to make this transition hard. We want to make it as easy as possible so we can relieve that stress. So you want to take your time and just go through these pointers. All right. My last thing is setting up your new essentials. You may be moving to a different state, different country, your driver's license. You need to make sure that you update your driver's license and your ID. Update it with your new address. Okay. Sometimes we just say, oh, I'm just moving over here. So I'm going to the old address on my license. But then when things are being mailed, they're still going to your old address. And they're only going to reroute mail for so long. All right. New services, set up local services like your doctors, finding your doctor a gym because you work out, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got to have a gym to go to. So make sure you take a look at the area, compare those memberships. Um, Here again, register your utilities, your internet, which we talked about that earlier,
Mhm.
and your trash service. Where are you moving to? Is it valet service? Or do you have to take it out to the curb? Do you have a house? You have to take it to the dumpster if you're in an apartment. So you want to know those type things too and get those things set up. As Cynthia said before, you want to also explore the area that you're moving into. You want to explore the area and you want to compare to surrounding areas and from where you're moving from. You want to compare. So once you arrive, take the time to explore the area,
Mhm.
walk around, ride your bike. Go look, walk around your area different times of the day.
Mhm.
Early morning, midday,
Mhm.
before it get too dark. At dark
Mhm.
time, you ride around. You need to be home before it get dark. But
Mhm. Yeah,
but you
absolutely.
want to, yeah, you want to explore the area, familiarize yourself with where the grocery stores are, the cafes, and public transportation routes. If something
Mhm.
does happen to you, right? So it's a lot of little things that need to be done, but it doesn't have to be hard. It can be made easy as long as you have your list
Mhm.
of what you need to do and you know what to do. If you don't know what to do, then you can always Google the simplest way for a move or whatever, because you want to, you're doing something huge. You're making a move, so you don't want to make it stressful. All
Exactly.
right. So
Yeah.
those are some little tidbits for right now that you can do.
Very good. Very good. Those are so important. Thanks, Val.
Thank you.
So then let's look at, because we want this to be fun. We want this to be a fun experience. And so let's talk about settling into your new location. The first thing
Mhm.
you want to do, or try to do anyway, is introduce yourself to your neighbors. So you want to scope it out first so you can see who the neighbors are,
Mhm.
and then see if there's someone that, because everyone needs to know someone. You need to have someone in the neighborhood. Like I have my neighbor next door across the street. If we're not at home, but we see Amazon delivered package, hey, can you grab that package off my porch and I'll get it from you in the morning or whatever because I'm not at home. And
Mhm.
we do that for each other. So it's always good to have a looking out buddy, looking out for you. So then
Mhm.
also you want somebody that who might be able to introduce you to some of the community groups or activities that are going on, because they may have been in the neighborhood, and you're just moving in. And so they can say, oh, they have a yoga class, or we have a walking group that meets at the park. And it's like, oh, okay, great. And then you can join those activities and meet new other neighbors as well,
Mhm.
so you can get your social connections going on. And so that's something
Yeah.
else you want to do. You want to increase your work and social connections with this new job. You want to get some
Mhm.
new connections on the job, and also social in the neighborhood and surrounding
Right.
areas. So you want to get
Mhm.
new networking buddies, so we can reach out to those contacts and have some social activities going on, maybe develop some new hobbies in the new
Yes.
location. A lot of good things can come from that.
Yeah, do some things you haven't done before in your new area to make it special.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so when we're unpacking and organizing and we're doing all that good stuff, we're thinking about that physical activity that we're doing. And we also need to think about our self-care, because with
Mhm.
that's a lot. You can get overwhelmed with a move, honey. I mean, because you look at that expression on your face, Val. I know, because we've been there, girl. And it's
Yes,
a
honey.
lot of work physically and mentally, you know.
Mm,
So
I'm tired now,
I know you are. I know. And so
but whew,
we have to take care of our mental health. We got to stay organized, like Val was telling us about. And then we have to give ourselves breaks. You can't just keep pushing yourself all day long like that, because then you're going to come to the point where you're going to be like Val just said, I'm tired.
mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
So give yourself some breaks as you need
Yes,
to.
honey.
Yes, yes, when you're relocating, and especially on actual moving day, that's something you got to, stay hydrated, stay nourished,
Mhm.
and stay mentally rested.
And you know what else, Cynthia? Moving those days, moving towards moving day, um, because sometimes we can be guilty of getting up early in the morning trying to get things done, and we're doing it all day and all night. So we're
Mhm.
not sleeping well. We're getting to bed late. We're not eating right. We're not drinking
Mhm.
enough water or liquids or whatever. So we're putting ourselves into making our bodies distressed.
Mhm.
So when we have that moving day, you're so exhausted. You don't know whether you're coming or going. And
Yes.
that next day, everything starts to hit you.
It
Your body is sore, your body is tired, your mind is like, oh my goodness.
I
So,
need a vacation.
oh Lord, yes, I need a vacation from the move.
I know.
Yeah, you gotta think about all this.
That is
Mm,
so true. That is so
mm,
true. Yeah,
mm.
and then another thing too, when you were talking about that mental stress, and it can cause us sleepless nights too, because we can think about something, it may pop in our mind. Maybe we get up and go to the restroom in the middle of the night and come back and think, oh, did I pack this? Did I pack that? And so then that's keeping you from sleeping easily straight through the night like that.
Yeah, so now you're looking for stuff. Oh, let me make sure I got this. Oh,
Yeah,
in the middle at
it's
2
fun.
a.m. when you should be asleep.
Exactly. So we want to just be flexible and we want to be able to adjust. Remember patience. Patience is a virtue, y'all.
Mhm,
And the first few weeks are going to probably feel chaotic because it's new. We're in a new place. It's new. We sight unseen, the unknown, that kind of stuff can still seem chaotic. And until
mhm,
we get into our groove with our new location, and we just have to be flexible and just be able to adjust to the new surroundings that we're in.
excuse me.
We
It's
want to
about
be.
it's about adaptability, like you said earlier.
Yes, the adaptability.
Mhm,
I'm telling you, that's something, that's a skill set that we can never have enough of. You have to be able to do
mhm,
that. Reflect.
mhm,
We got to be able to reflect on, after the first few weeks, just look at the transition that we made.
mhm,
What's going well? Think about those things as you're there.
mhm,
Okay, so what
mhm.
is going well here? What am I liking? What am I not liking? What can I improve on? Keep a list
Exactly.
on things like that. And then we can adjust and make plans accordingly to those changes that we can either do better and what worked well for us, you know,
Mhm,
and we
mhm.
can see our success at that point. But what we want is a stress free move or
Yeah.
relocation. And if we want it to be a well planned experience. And with
Mm,
these
mhm.
tips that we just gave, it really can be. It can be very well planned,
Yes.
organized. Go on, Miss Val, with your organized self. But be organized. It could be stress free. I mean, the stress is
Mhm,
going to be there just because it's a lot of
mhm,
work, and we'll
mhm,
feel overwhelmed for a minute there. But
mhm.
but if we get enough rest, we take care of ourselves, plan ahead of time, like you said, Val. I can't even say enough about what you said about labeling those boxes. A
Yes,
box,
ma'am.
a good
Yes,
sturdy
ma'am.
box, some packing tape, a Sharpie, and those are your best friends and a good moving company, honey.
Exactly, exactly. And you know, one other thing that made it a little bit better for me, as I had friends come over to help me,
Hmm.
um, it was like this is how I had to pose it. Hey, we're having a moving party.
Hmm.
So we had music, we had just music playing. I had food there, and they were getting it. There were two
I
in this room,
know.
two in that room, and it made it so good. So I wouldn't say it was fun or joyous, but it wasn't as stressful as I thought it would be
It
because you
was.
broke the monotony. You made it a little easier, you
Yeah,
know.
and you
So
actually did make it fun, Val, because
oh
first of
yeah,
all, anytime you put music and food into it, it's gonna be
oh
fun.
baby, it's fun. Yeah,
You're gonna
yeah.
be working, you're not gonna be necessarily doing the best thing you would want to be doing
Hmm.
on a Saturday, but,
Hmm.
but because you got the music going on and the good food going on,
Every
you,
now and then they had a
and
dance.
then people think they're helping you, and
Yes,
they love that part too. They feel like
exactly.
I'm helping,
Exactly.
I'm helping her. So,
Every now and then they had a dance break. I said, hold on, your dance break can only be 10 seconds.
oh, I love it. I love it. I love it though. I love the spirit came over, honey. They had to have a dance break out. I love it. That is so cool. That is so cool.
Oh my God.
I
That's funny.
know.
Yeah.
So, okay, so while we're talking about the stress-free and the mental health, Val, you got any closing words for us, girl?
Yes, I do. Well, actually, I have testimony, a quick little testimony. As they say at church, I want to make it 2 minutes.
Okay.
Um, 2 minutes. I was going through some things, and Cynthia, you're aware of what I was going through. And I felt like, and I'm sure there are other people like this, that you feel like you're at your breaking point. You can't take anymore. You can't do anything. And you keep asking God to keep on pushing and delivering and giving you ideas and stand before you and all those things. And I have a yellow couch. My yellow couch is the most beautiful couch in the world. I love it. And the leg broke on the couch a couple of months ago. So every time I try to get someone to pick that leg on the couch, they act like it was so hard. And I'm like, well, it shouldn't be that hard. We tried the super glue, gorilla glue, wood glue, cement wood glue, all that stuff, and it never would work. So I said, well, maybe we need to put a different screw in it in a different place, chair. So, but nobody wanted to fool with my chair. So, honey, on a Monday, I just had a breakdown. I was looking at my chair and I said, God, I love my chair. I said, I don't want anything to happen to my chair. I said, God, you know what? I feel like my chair. I feel broken and can't be repaired, can't be fixed. And I said, but I refuse to give up.
Come on.
Oh, honey, I went into prayer. I went into prayer. I went into prayer. And I said, God, all I want, I just want to be
Mm.
repaired. I want to be fixed and I want to be set on you.
Mm.
And so I had my little breakthrough moment. And later on that night, listen to some gospel music. So these friends of mine are sending me these scriptures and these songs, and they didn't know what was going on because I haven't said anything to anybody. And it was right on time. And the very next day, because I released everything when I was talking to God about my chair, I released it all, released the chair, released the heartache, the everything. The very next day, I got a call about a job.
Okay.
I
Okay.
got a call about a job, which is the move I just made for that job. So
Okay.
I had to release it for
Yeah.
real. Oftentimes we say we release it, but we don't.
Right.
But my breaking point was my yellow couch. So that yellow couch is a yellow couch breakthrough. So
Yes.
something is going to be coming later on, a conference or something about the breakthrough because it did it for me.
Mm.
It did it for me. So now I'm gonna leave you with a script with the scripture,
Okay.
which is on my socks. So I'm covered from my feet. I'm covered from my head all the way down to my feet. Here,
Okay.
surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. So he's covering me from my head all the way down to the soles of my feet, as he said in the Bible. These are my socks. And it says, he will give his angels charge over you. Psalms 91:11.
So,
Remember it, 91:1.
no.
So when I tell you these things came at the right time when I
Mm-hmm.
had my breakthrough.
Mm.
So I said all that to say this. It's okay to panic. It's okay to throw in the towel, but just be ready when God pick
Mm.
you up and place you elsewhere.
Okay.
It's okay. All right. So don't feel like you can't.
Mm-mm.
You can because God is gonna live. He's a lifter. He's a lifter of our head. He's gonna pick us up and place us where we need to be. And that's all I got to say.
Mm, that is beautiful. That is
My
beautiful.
testimony.
And
Oh,
and and that is a testimony. That's a testimony
mm,
that is awesome. And I'm loving
mhm.
that. And I'm sure some of our viewers will be able to relate to that as well because so many of us are going through this.
Yes,
And yes, we're making these
yes,
relocations and doing it the best
exactly.
way we can. And thanks for those words of spiritual mode.
Girl, it's needed. It's needed
Yeah,
because we feel,
absolutely, it's needed.
yeah,
And
we feel like we can't move on sometimes.
because I have felt broken. I've
Mhm,
never been laid up this long before in my life, and I
mhm,
had to try.
mhm.
And it was I was feeling broken, and feeling like okay, so what is it? There's got to be something I'm supposed to be getting from this
Yeah.
purpose.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going
Mhm,
to tell you one of the main things I got from it, Val, that I am going
mhm.
to do. Um, I am definitely going to be pivotal with a movement for people who feel broken or less than
Uh-huh.
when they don't have an income.
Yes.
That is so not good because that's not our value. But a lot of people make us feel that when you're
Mhm,
going through that, and you can see it.
mhm.
But there's so much compassion in this world too
It
that I
is.
have run across, and so I love that. And that's the person I am, and I know that I've run across that because of that's the person that I am too for other people. However,
Right.
for the mother folk, I'm like, don't let me be on the other side of the table, boo. Okay.
Okay.
I,
Exactly.
you know.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Because the tables can quickly turn.
Oh, and they will. They will.
Mm,
They will.
You can be where we were.
Yes, yes. But anyway, thank you so much, Val. And thank you
Thank you,
guys for
guys.
stopping by for some of our stories. I hope we said something that might be beneficial to you if you're going through a relocation, or you may find yourself going through one soon. So hopefully some of
Mhm.
our tips and tricks have been helpful to you. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. That's great information. And we thank you guys. Good night.
Thank you, guys. Good night. Bye bye.